David Nixon is here, who's going to play in the game. Now, what went into this decision to commit to play in this game?
I'll answer that with another question. What am I doing? I mean, what am I doing?
We've wondered that for some time.
You know what? David Almodovar reached out and said, hey, we want to play in this. And at first I was like, yeah, just, little game. And all of a sudden, it started to gain a little bit of momentum, a little bit of steam. All of a sudden, people are posting these pictures of committed. I'm like, wait, this is getting a little serious. Videos have now since surfaced of my quarterback on my team, Max. He's doing drills with Ty Detmer. He's ready.
Pretty good.
So naturally, this morning I put on some cleats, went over to Corner Kin High School where, I live right by there, ran some drills, and I don't think I'm ready, but I will be there. I will be there, and I'll be ready to play.
But you and Keel coach your boys' Little League team. Have they given you any advice for this one?
They'll be there. Our kids will be there. So I might have to tap out and have my little boy come in and play for me because he's a lot better at one-hand, two-hand touch than I am. But
I was going to say it's one-hand touch.
Yeah. One-hand touch. What it is going to be, it might be completely unnecessary, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It could be. This could be a one-and-done type experiment. But listen, for me, it's always fun to get together these alumni days because beyond just the game, it's an alumni day for all the alumni to come back. And there's some of us that are playing in the game that are not as intelligent as the others. But it'll be fun. It's always fun to see the guys, and whether you play with them or whether they were years before you. We talk about, right, the Band of Brothers, this brotherhood that BYU football has. And it's fun to welcome these kids that just finished these last few years into that brotherhood as well. So it'll be a fun day all around.
I think we can – it's not confirmed, but Provo City is called Payson, Springville, Spanish Fork, American Fork, and PG. Every ambulance that will be available in Utah Valley will be outside LaVell Edwards Stadium on Thursday night.
I'm telling you, I went and worked out this morning, and I did a long stretch of the hammies. I mean, the hammies are good. It's the rest of the body. We'll see about the hip flexors. Those might be the next things to go.
Okay, some news just broke from Adam Schefter. The Saints are signing Andy Dalton to a one-year deal worth $6 million, including $3 million guaranteed. Let's talk about Taysom now. Yeah. So obviously Dennis Allen says, he's going to focus on tight end. I made the comparison to stepdad Sean Payton really liked Taysom as a stepson, right? What does this mean for Taysom in the quarterback situation, in your opinion? Obviously with Jameis, and now they're signing Andy. It feels like Dennis Allen's going away from Taysom as a quarterback? Yeah,
I'll say it's a pretty fluid situation. And, having talked to Taysom, I think he's taking it all in stride right now. Listen, this is a guy who has played every position. I mean, it's like this is something new for him. He's been the most selfless player out there. He's put his body at risk. But at the end of the day, his stats don't lie. 7-2 as a starter. I don't know what else you want. 3 of those wins being against your divisional opponent, the Falcons. And so he's done what they've asked him to do. Obviously, you get a new head coach coming in, and he wants to go a different direction. But I think Taysom will be ready to, whether it's tight end, whether it's running back, whether it is to come in and play more quarterback. I know that's not off the table. But as of right now, it sounds like he wants to put him in the tight end position. Taysom will learn that position. But, it's, as you mentioned, we'd heard maybe some rumblings of this happening with Dalton, and there it is announced. And so I think right now there's a lot of stuff going on that he's kind of just trying to sort through it all.
I think the Dalton signing screams the fact that Winston is coming off an ACL and Taysom's coming off a Liz Frank, and he's getting evaluated even this week. I saw him in a boot playing golf the other day, and then we saw him at Pro Day without a boot on. He is getting better, but if the Saints have mini camp next week, it looks like the only quarterback will be Andy Dalton that they signed today because neither are ready to go.
Yeah, I think they still got Ian Book, who was a four-stringer that played a little bit as well. But, they lost Trevor Siemian in the offseason. In fact, I think he went with the Bears. So this is a little swap between Dalton and Siemian. But, listen, Taysom's under contract. His foot is coming along really well. In fact, he's out there with the doctors right now getting his foot looked at. So I think he's on target. He's progressing well. That's the whole point of this offseason. He knows the offense. The offense coordinator didn't change, even though the head coach did change. And so he's familiar with the offense. It's not like he needs to be there to get reps. He's had plenty of reps. It's like I said, it's a very fluid situation. So I think even he's kind of looking to see what's happening. But ultimately, he still wants to be a quarterback, and he's proven that he can be a quarterback. The Saints are signing other quarterbacks that maybe say differently, but we'll see how it all plays out.
It solidifies the two most powerful words in all of professional sports: guaranteed money.
Yeah. And this, it's funny too, right? Taysom signed that contract before his injury as well, and so you think about the timing of that, and that's why agents, if talks start, they jump on those fast because you never know with injuries what's going to happen. Right. So, yeah, Taysom could not have timed his contract any better than he did. He's pretty set up in that way.
I think there's some Jimmer Fredette analogy with Taysom here. I think that we wanted something so bad for Jimmer that we didn't appreciate just who or what he was in a certain space. So Taysom, yes, we want him to be the successful starting quarterback in the NFL. I think his legacy will be that he was so versatile. And I said, I don't think he has a shot at the Pro Football Hall of Fame as an NFL quarterback, but as a gadget guy, as a Swiss Army knife, which it almost feels like it's something. Yes, yeah. Yes. No, I said Tim Tebow wishes he was Taysom Hill. You know what I mean? Yeah. That in the end, his legacy will be his versatility, and we should appreciate that, not keep scratching it. Maybe something that isn't under his control, which is to be an NFL starter.
Well, and it's something that all his players, all his teammates respect him for it. I've heard stories of him going and playing other teams, and big-time stars come up to him and say, hey, I love what you do, right? I mean, nobody in the league can do what Taysom does.
Right. Has anybody ever done it? I don't think so, right?
And I think that's what's so unique about him. Like you said, that's something maybe he'll go down in history for, is the fact that you're able to play all those positions and excel at all those positions, score touchdowns all those positions, and something that no other player has been able to do, including special teams. I mean, you look back at his career and everything he's done, and that just goes to point, once again, I go back to what I said initially, he's a selfless player, and he'll do whatever he has to do for this team. And if that means playing tight end, he'll do it. I mean, I know he wants to play quarterback, but he's swallowed his pride before, and he'll do it again.
And the magic of Taysom, and we all follow football. I can't tell you the quarterbacks for half the teams as they sit right now in the NFL. But every NFL football fan knows who Taysom Hill is.
Well, and for us, it's always fun because I go to a lot of the games there at the Superdome, and I'm telling you, every year and every game we go to, there's more and more number 7 jerseys walking around. And the fans absolutely love him there because they see his passion. They see what he brings to the table and the spark that he brings. I remember against the Bears, the playoff game, he came in, it was a couple years ago, and the whole arena was dead. You know, they were losing. He comes in and all of a sudden just rattles off a couple passes, a couple big runs, and all of a sudden just sparked his energy into this team. And that's what he does. I mean, and that's why I think his teammates rally around him as well, and they respect him because they realize how hard it is to do that. How hard it is to line up a tight end, down block on some of the best defensive ends in the whole NFL, and all of a sudden go back and be a quarterback and throw a bomb 60 yards. I mean, that's unprecedented.
And stay in the game when you punt and go down and make the tackle. And if the team scores, you get to return the kickoff.
It's unbelievable, and that's why I almost wonder at what point do we. It feels like when you think less of this idea that it's not working out. It's okay to appreciate someone for who they actually are. Like if we just sat here and diagrammed Jimmer's NBA career, it's like it wasn't what he was. A tremendous player who didn't play in the NBA. That's okay. Scoring 70+ in China multiple times, college basketball Hall of Famer in the future. Like that's awesome. Let's appreciate who he is, not what we want him to be that he may not be. That's okay.
Well, and who knows if this is, if Taysom does go to tight end, you guys alluded to it earlier with Sean Payton.
He's going to coach
Taysom
somewhere.
and Sean are good friends. I know they text.
Yeah.
There might be an opportunity down the road for him to go join a team if Sean joins a team, if Sean comes back from retirement. So who knows if this is the end, right? This is just now. It's like, hey, get in there now. Do what you need to do now. And maybe there are injuries. Maybe Winston doesn't come back. Maybe Andy Dalton gets dinged up or doesn't play well. I mean, Taysom's been there, done that. They know what they have in Taysom as a quarterback. So now I think they're trying to find ways to get him on the field because he is so effective.
Don't you think Robert and I somewhere is thinking, why didn't I do that? I just ran him to death. I could have thrown him passes. We could have had him on special teams. We could have had him play all 11
Christian Stewart's
positions.
Like, yes, I could have thrown more. Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Put me in.
No, I think it was used effectively. It was great. Let's talk linebackers. So obviously Peyton Wilgar and Keenan Peely are sitting out in the spring, getting ready to be healthy this fall. Those are two really solid guys. Ben Bywater got a ton of run as a walk-on, played pretty effectively at times, right? Max Tooley, a solid guy as well. What do you think of that group?
I still think they're strong. I go back to last year before the season started, and I thought they were one of the stronger linebacker corps in college football. Injuries, obviously the injury bug at BYU, and there's one thing we learned from last year, especially with the linebackers, you got to have depth. And I think that's what they're working on right now with spring is getting that depth built up behind these backers in case one does go down with injury. Obviously, we hope not. But you bring all these guys back, and yes, they are coming off some injuries and some dings, which always happens with every football season. But I love, you look at down below, the games that were played, and Ben Bywater coming off as a freshman and what he's able to do. Peyton Wilgar, who I think his instincts are unmatched. And then, of course, Peely, the way that he's able to swarm to the ball and he's able to track the ball, assuming he comes back all healthy. I'm excited for this BYU team. But with this schedule, they've got to create depth. You had to be able to rotate guys in, especially with how this defense rotates guys in. We've seen how much they rotate in, which, by the way, I don't know how much I agree with that. Brian Kill and I talk about this all the time. If we had to rotate in that much, I don't know.
You'd have been exhausted by the time you get to the huddle.
I don't get it. I prefer just to stay on the field and maybe tap out every once in a while, but they have a different philosophy and it's working for them.
If these three, and I talked to Wilgar at Pro Day, and he said both he and Peely are way ahead of their health comeback, and they're going to be cleared here shortly. Full camp, ready to go against South Florida. But Bywater, who's huge, this offseason has been great for him. But Wilgar, Peely, and Bywater, they stay healthy. How about that trio and how it stacks up against trios like you had and some of the great ones at school?
Yeah, I think you go back to if they stay healthy, right? I mean, this is a squad. I will say this. These teams during independence, especially this coming year, are playing schedules much more difficult than we did. The grind from week to week, you just don't have the breaks in there like we did to all of a sudden be done by halftime, right? Or the third quarter, we're sitting out the fourth. These guys are having to grind through a whole game. So it makes it tough. But to your point, legacy-wise, they're playmakers. These guys have bona fide speed. They can run from sideline to sideline. And so I love everything about this core. They just got to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing because we saw BYU at the end of the year last year. You're down to second, third. We had walk-ons playing and starting at linebacker. And so health is the number one thing. And that's why, no reason to rush them back. They've had plenty of game reps. They know the defense. No reason to rush them back. Give them some time and get them ready for fall ball.
How many passes are you going to pick off from Kevin Federick on Thursday?
Listen, I'm not going for interceptions or tackles. I'm going for just
pure. There is no tackling.
If this ruins my golf game moving forward, if something happens and I can't golf the rest of the summer, I'll be very frustrated. So I'm just trying to preserve my health.
Oh yeah,
that's a win. That's a net win at the end of the day.
Take it easy. Yeah. The best ability
take it easy.
is availability. Exactly. Thanks, David.
Yeah, thanks, guys.